Hello and welcome back to Middle-earth, and this is one of the strangest battles I've had in quite some time. So if you are joining us from the previous episode, you will possibly recognize that this is the battle we were just about to fight against Dunland. They attacked us here in an open field, and I'm just going to pause it for a moment just to show you how things progressed in this battle, because there really wasn't any point in showing the whole thing. So I was initially set up right here. The enemy was going to approach from over here. But because they had tons of cavalry, lots of skirmish troops, the open terrain would have favored them quite heavily. So I set up over here in the woods. I had a line of archers, and my infantry and my cavalry basically set up in this pretty defensive position here. So the AI sent out, as you can sort of tell from the bodies littered along the field here, they sent up their cavalry mostly to sort of probe, and once my units sort of emerged from the forest, they would either retreat. They did send in a unit of axes of the wolf right here, but my combined arms managed to see them off. And then the AI just stopped. They just gave up. I won hide and seek is basically what happened here. So that's where we are currently. I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One, we've got a lot of hidden units here. And two, I also deployed right next to this impassable terrain. So I think that really confused the AI. And occasionally you will see this where they will just decide not to do anything. And I think it's a combination, again, of my units being hidden, their units being unable to approach from a desired direction. It's very rare, but it does happen occasionally. So we'll get to the end of the battle results screen. We'll sort of see how we did. You can tell I lost a ton of archers. I basically had them out front. And so, yeah, we lost a lot of men. And it's mostly men, because these were all mercenary archers. And they even killed more of ours than we did of theirs. But we ended up winning by default. We still would have won that, I'm quite sure, had the AI approached. But, yeah, we lost a lot, even among the Dwarven axes. Some Dwarven bows, some rider mercenaries. Oh no, that's inflicted. I'm sorry. Yes, we lost a lot of Dwarven axes to the enemy axes of the wolf. Mercenary bowmen took the largest losses overall, but it counts as a victory. So I'm wondering, it is still the AI's turn. We will see if they are going to attack again this turn, because they will certainly have the men to do so with a credible threat. Guess not. All right. That's great news. That means we can proceed towards the fort. A new court member, and we spent a lot of money, I guess, last turn, but we're making 13,000 this turn. So I've got 3 full units of Dwarven blunderbusses, and it's going to take a long time before we can retrain that unit that's there or train a new unit. So I'm kind of debating now, seeing how dangerous these Dunlanding forces really are. I'm debating whether I should try to get to the outpost or head right for one of their settlements, like take their capital right away. The problem with taking their capital is that this province here, Dunland, borders with Tharbad's territory, and they've got big stacks, and they also would be kind of a tricky faction to fight, I think. So that might not be the best move. It might be better to go for this settlement right here, which is going to be a fairly large one. You got a nice wall, and it's right next to the fort, and so the fort would never again be under threat from Dunland, because they would be sending all of their men to try to take back that city. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll kind of carefully move down the road. Yeah, that's why. Oh, man. Okay. We did get some of our archers back, but I would love there to be some mercenaries currently, and there are not. Alright, so one thing we could do is move into the forest with the idea of moving towards the hills to get some height advantage and something like that. So maybe right here might be good. I'm just worried that I'm going to get ambushed.
Ready to ambush. Move out.
think this is a hilly area. So we'll see about that. And I'm not going to risk getting my blunderbusses over there, so we'll just have to hold out. I'm reluctant to merge units because I just know if I get them down to the fort, I could possibly retrain them, or if I get this capital, I can definitely retrain. Well, actually, no. I think they came from further north, so I might not be able to retrain them here. So it's probably a good idea to merge at least a couple of units together. The axes I'm going to keep separate, though. Okay. So it's time to cruise around and see what we can do. We are going to besiege Carn Dûm, and I do expect that we are going to be challenged for this. But let's just see what it looks like. I think I want to come at it from over here. No, we couldn't because reasons. Okay. So we'll queue up our rams, and probably we might get hit next turn because sometimes the AI cheats a little bit to give, you know, they get to the point where they exhaust all their movement points, they crouch down, but then they stand up on the campaign map and hit you when they really shouldn't be able to. So occasionally that does happen. We're going to keep the King of the Dwarves in the centralized position, although I don't know that we're going to need it for much longer, because if we take the heat off of these provinces by taking Carn Dûm, that should become the focus. If Amonsul falls, then we'll take it back. How about that? In the east, we have built up a pretty large force here, and so I think we're ready, as I mentioned, to attack these orcs who are in the arid Mithrin. We are in the Withered Heath region, and we scrambled together these guys last episode, so we'll be able to see these Dwarven siege ballistas in action. And they're going to accept the fight. I don't know if they're going to stick around. They don't have anything too scary here. Some orc champions and a few archers, but not even too many. So let's see. Find a good save here. But this will be good because eliminating this army in the field is going to make it that much easier to take the settlement that's over here, not too far away. And that, again, is a Dwarven settlement. Dwarven population already there, ready to go. We just need to, add some buildings to it. It's on our victory conditions anyway, so we need to take it. Okay. Here are the Dwarven siege ballistas. Actually, no, we did see them in action. I'm remembering now because I killed my own family member with one of these early on in the campaign. So, now the problem here is we are attacking very much uphill. I was kind of afraid this would happen. Maybe, I don't know if there's any point in working a way around a gentler slope. We may just head straight uphill. So the siege ballistas probably won't play too much a role here. I'm just going to go straight up. Axe throwers in the front. The general near the front as well. We've got a secondary family member. We'll put him over there. And the warhammers can be on this side as well to do some flanking. We have these longbowmen, but I'm going to hold on to them. And let's take fire up at will off. I don't want the longbowmen to be leading just because there's just no way they're going to be able to get in range before they start getting slaughtered. So we'll follow maybe a little bit further behind. Now I could hit them from here. Let's see if we can do that without killing too many of our own guys. Very good. Get some of those archers out of the way. Again, this is very dangerous. But they're arcing high. Very good. Orc hunters. All those bowmen. This orc band is really not threatening, but they're kind of in the middle. And we're getting some collateral damage anyway, so I'm pretty happy with it. Orc blades are a new unit. We haven't seen them yet, but they're these guys here. Dual wielding those axes. I believe they can war cry. Yep, war cry improves attack. Good stamina. So, pretty decent unit actually, but they are, interestingly enough, unique to Dunland. If you are playing as Dunland and you go cultic, you can train those guys. So they're targeting my warhammers. I wonder how they decide who to aim at, because they are hitting my most vulnerable unit. All right, let's stop with the ballista now while we're just general in. They're going to throw and charge, I believe. Yep. We already have some routers in the form of those Orc Raiders. York Champions are winning. That's obviously not good. Let's get my Dwarven axes around to flank, and there's a gap there for my general to exploit potentially. Again, I want to protect my longbowmen and that siege ballista. Okay. Now they're losing heavily. But these guys are similar to the Axes of the Wolf in some ways, because they've got War Cry, two-handed axe, gives them the armor piercing, so they're going to be pretty damaging. But they're only led by a captain here, and as you can see, they're routing pretty quickly. So I just need to keep the pressure up. We'll have a mass rout fairly soon, I imagine. And their general is a unit of Orc Raiders. Or their captain, I should say. A lot of these guys, though, are going to be faster than my dwarves, I think. So, and we don't have any cav here, of course, so it's going to be hard to catch them.
The enemy warlord shows his worth. Nothing. Any of our warriors would die rather than run.
All right. Orc Raiders are sticking around a bit longer than I would have thought. Well, let's send these guys down, I guess. These Orc Hunters, we're probably just going to have to run them into the edge of the map. Oh, throwing axes are throwing. You know, that's fine and all, I just don't want to get any friendly fire. Looks like I already did. Okay, we did catch up to them, and this is a little dangerous actually for my warhammers. As you can see, they're taking some losses, and this is just a spear unit. Our guys are winded, their guys are also winded, but the warhammers just, you know, without a shield, they do have very good armor, but they're surrounded, as you can see here, so they are going to take some losses. But ultimately, they're going to come out on top. I think something similar is going to play out here, although Snagga Hunters are not going to have much chance against my Dwarven Axe Throwers. And it's just going to be an exercise in running them down. So I'll go ahead and speed this up. Yeah, here's the Orc Blades. So they're a little shorter than my Dwarves, it looks like. But yeah, Dunland is the only faction that can actually train these guys. You'll find them, of course, in these rebel settlements. in the mountains with other orcs. But a Dunabar can't train them. A Dunabar can train, basically every other type of orc, uruk, warg, troll. So a Dunabar has a very interesting roster. But the one thing they don't get is those orc blades that Dunland does. I don't know if it's worth it necessarily for Dunland. It's not exactly a feather in their cap that they get orc blades, but it is something. If you're going cultic as Dunland, you want to grab that. There's an orc hold to the northeast of your starting settlement, of your starting capital, and that is the place where you can train your orcs if you want to go that route. It's tough to kind of convert it and turn it into a useful capital or a useful settlement, because it's for one thing, there's a ton of orcs there. You're gonna have to fight a pretty large rebel orcish host, and then you've got to build the buildings, and then you've got to be cultic. But it can happen, and some of those orc units are kind of handy for Dunland. I would say especially the orc champions, which is like their highest tier orcish unit, really. And the orc champions are pretty decent. Very large unit size, even larger than your native Dunland, like say Axes of the Wolf. I think you get about 60 men in a unit of those. Orc champions get something like 90 or something along those lines. And they're a good solid unit with war cry and armor piercing, so it's hard to turn that down. Alright, let's get the longbows in here, because at least these guys can run faster. So we're kind of corralling them now. I'm going to go ahead actually and get my axe throwers in on this as well. And so we're catching all of them, and there we go. I'm going to end the battle. Just not worth it. I don't know that rebels would stick around anyway and retreat. I think when you win a battle against them, that's it. The only thing you're missing out on is extra experience. Yeah, so the army was just completely routed. I may have beaten enough of them anyway, but I'm not sure. All right, so we've got another big stack over here. I don't know if they're going to come after me, but it doesn't look like they can reach me if I'm over by the city. Alright, and I want to get kind of somewhere up if possible. There we go. Okay, so this settlement only has 3 units inside of it. Orodengrin. This is... it's already got Dwarven Mountain Caverns in it. And so we're going to besiege that next turn. And we might assault that and take it quickly, actually. That is a settlement I am tempted to auto-resolve. Now, I noticed something going over the end of the turn recently, that Rovanian has actually conquered up to this settlement here, Gargal. And I believe they are at war with Dorwinian, is that right? Yeah, so they're basically snapping up Dorwinian settlements. I'm still trading with them, and I think I have helped them a little bit, because I, if you recall, gave them Brag Estelad with a bunch of money as a way of thwarting Rune's expansion into the area. So that worked pretty well, but now they are wiping out my ally Dorwinian. And once they wipe out Dorwinian, they're going to be at war with me. Fortunately, they don't have Belligant under siege yet. Otherwise, it would say that it's under siege right now. So I've got that going for me. All right, we got to spend a bunch of money, 13,000. Let's go with the deep mines over here. It's gonna give me 30 extra Mirian. -2 for the mismanagement, but I think this is a good thing to get anyway. Let's just go ahead and spend it crazily, since we have the money. Now at Nereg Zagil, still working on population there. Dwarven actually does have stuff we could build, but not too much. All right, so we got a couple of sieges going. We've got a settlement moving through Dunland, hopefully. Anything to do in Hollowbuild? I think we're going to call that good. All right, here we go. We're attacked by a host of Dunlandings, and I think we are going to call this an episode. So when we come back, hopefully this will be a bit more of a conventional battle than the one we started the episode with. This looks much more manageable than even the past fight, which shows me that Dunland may have used their best troops and are now kind of throwing together whatever they can get. So a lot of lower tier stuff. Still a problem for us because they get a lot of skirmishers, and we need to just avoid getting attrited down over all these battles. But I think this is a good point to stop. Thank you very much for joining us, and hope you have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.